Hey yo, what is up? Welcome to Ninja Geek Games. We're going to take a look at Aliens, the board game, Another Glorious Day in the Core. This is a survival horror from Gale Force 9, and yet it's based on the sci-fi classic Aliens. Here you take on the role of a team of Marines and Grunts on Hadley's Hope, where you aim to complete missions either as a standalone experience, or you can link them to form a type of campaign where you can apparently lose resources as the game progresses, as well as soldiers if they've been killed, or worse, captured. Gale Force 9 wasted no time with this, bringing out a big box expansion on day one that includes the power loader and the Queen, plus an ultimate badass set of 6 additional characters and rules, and some 3D terrain sets. Let's take a look inside. Oh, cool. It moves. So this is the base game. I'm hoping inside they've got independently targeting particle beam phalanx, tactical smart missile, phase plasma pulse rifles, RPGs, electronic ball breakers, nukes, knives and sharp sticks. We can only hope. Oh, even better, we've got a game. So the rule book, it's full colour, lots and lots of images. There's even some cutscenes from this film as well. This looks excellent, very happy with that. We have some assembly guides for the miniatures. Being an avid Warhammer fan, this doesn't look too taxing. And same again for the Xenomorphs. These here are mission cards. I think there are 9 of these in here, but we'll get those out in a second. We've got a few punch boards with the Xenomorphs, face huggers, there's Newt. I think these here are interchangeable with the 3D terrain set that I've got. These here I think are aim dials and the sentry gun dials, but they look like the ammo counters from the pulse rifles in the film. They look pretty awesome. So there are character cards. I think there are 7 of these in total. Pop quiz hotshot. Which actor has been killed by a predator, Terminator and an alien? That's right, the late Bill Paxton. More characters and tokens. These here, I think these are card organisers. So your cards will sit into these grooves, which is pretty cool. And some exit signs. I'm sure these will be very welcome during the game. Now we have 4 game boards. I'll take a closer look at those in a second, but they look quite detailed. These are the Colonial Marine miniatures on a sprue, so we need to glue them together. Looks like there are 7 of them. And the same for the Xenomorphs. I think there are about 16 of these that we'll need to glue together. Some dice, which I believe are the Marine and Alien die. Nice thick stack of cards. These likely hold the dials that we looked at together. Even more cards in here. Cutscenes from the film, which I just think is brilliant. Oh, cool, motion trackers. I think that means they're in the room. And some alien face cards. This is the first big box expansion. Get away from her, you bitch. Again, we have a rulebook, not as thick as the main one, which is good, but you can see the Queen, power loader. Oh, brilliant. I mean, this just looks incredible. I'm looking forward to playing this. Some more mission cards. I think there are 11 of these here. How to assemble the Queen and the power loader. Oh look, there is Bishop when he's been cut in half. Spoiler alert. Lots more punch boards and tokens. More double-sided game boards. Another 4. The Queen does come in multiple parts. Ripley and the power loader and Bishop are on here. We have a small deck of cards here, and I think these are Hive Mind cards. Acid Blood. These are, I think, Hive Hazard cards. Some more motion tracker cards. The Ultimate Badasses expansion is a smaller box. It looks like we get additional characters. Small deck of cards, not sure what actually these are for. Some more of the marine die. Small rule book, just a couple of pages. Some more character cards. Yes, we get Apalm. We need to look into his eye apparently. Drake. I'm sure Vasquez will be very happy with that. And the A-hole Burke. And again, lastly, just one page of how to assemble the Marines, and again, it doesn't look too taxing. A little bit of glue maybe. The Assets and Hazards expansion, I believe is just 3D terrain, no rules here. Just makes the game look a lot better. And there are 2 of these, and they have face huggers, eggs, sentry guns, computer terminals, and crates. So these are all the board and miniature components you get with all the expansions. And I'm quite impressed, it's a pretty big game. The artwork on the board is pretty good. These white lines here separate rooms and corridors, and at first glance it does look busy, but when you start laying out the miniatures and terrain, it does come together really nicely. I think the miniatures look absolutely brilliant. It took a while to assemble them all. The instructions are relatively simple, they fit together easily, although you do need to use a bit of glue. One thing I was impressed with is that you get variability with the Xenomorph Miniatures. Although you get 16 Xenomorph Miniatures in the game, there are 4 body types with 4 miniatures per type. Now each of these has 2 different heads to choose from, and there are also 2 different tail types, and the arms can be positioned as you see fit, so you can customise to some extent. I went a little bit further and remodelled some of the tails, as you can see in this one and this one, so the tails look like they're curving over the top of the body. But I was pretty impressed with that, as most of the Xenomorph Miniatures all look different in some way. The Xenomorph Queen and the power loader had the most parts, with the power loader being a little bit more fiddly than the rest, but relatively straightforward. Regardless, the miniature quality is pretty good. The 3D terrain pieces from the Assets and Hazards expansion are a really nice touch. You get 2 different types of egg, where one of which looks opened, plus a couple of face huggers that look mid-flight. As for the cards and tokens, there are absolutely loads of them. And from all the expansions as well, you get additional blip tokens. These here are actually the tokens that are now represented by the 3D terrain, so I probably won't be using those in the game. You get dials for the turn token, and these here are related to aim, I think, during the game. I was a little disappointed because one of the dials I actually can't put together, as I've been given the wrong amount of clips to construct them. But there's a really good Facebook group for this game. I'll put a link of this here at the bottom. And a legend called Matt Simpson from the group going to send me a set of spare clips, so a big shout out to him. This stack up here, of which there are 2, these are the character cards, and the card quality is actually pretty decent. I really like the motion tracker artwork on the back of these. Now I know you only get 16 Xenomorph Miniatures in the game, and I was thinking that how this can represent a massive hive of aliens descending on the poor Marines. However, there's a really cool mechanic in the game where each Xenomorph miniature doesn't necessarily represent one alien. And to represent this, if a blip is turned over and shows a 2, for example, you don't actually place 2 miniatures. You remove the blip, you place 2 of these Xenomorph tokens here, and put the alien on top, which means you're going to be absolutely swarmed with miniatures during the game, which I think truly represents the film. These are the mission cards that you'll need to use to set up the game to dependent on which scenario you are playing. And it shows you how to set up the boards, plus has a handy setup key so you know what all the icons represent. These are actually double-sided and provide a lot of information for your goals and what happens if you interact with any of the icons on the game. For the big box expansion, you get additional missions, and these mission cards are twice the size of those in the original base game. Now unfortunately, this particular mission caused some problems with other players, as it does seem to contain quite a few errors. For instance, there are 2 of those map tiles shown, and in fact they're the same board. So from this it's actually impossible to play. The recent FAQ that Gale Force 9 have released includes an updated version of this map tile, but that is still wrong, as it appears to show a different tile here that is actually the reverse of this tile. So still this problem hasn't been fixed. They have put a link to the correct mission card on their website, but the link's broken and doesn't appear to work. Not only that, there are quite a few grammatical errors on the back of this mission tile. For instance, the first paragraph under survival mode reads, "You are trapped in an outpost that is under siege," and I assume they mean under siege. And further down, under bigger bug hunt, I'm sure it's meant to read, "Your fire team may include up to 8 characters instead of you." So for me that's just a little frustrating, considering we've been waiting for quite some time for this game. There just appear to be some massive errors with this mission tile. So overall, for the most part, the contents are pretty good quality, with loads of miniatures, tokens and cards. I'm a little disappointed I can't assemble one of the dials, but I'm sure that could be easily rectified. Also, the error on the evacuation bug hunt map is a pain, especially since the updated FAQ version is also wrong. It also mentions using the queen, eggs and swarm rules, but these apparently should be ignored as well. So now we're waiting for the scenario to be updated again. Regardless, the component quality is pretty decent and the miniatures look ace. The character miniatures even have their names on the back of the bases, so it's easy to know who's who. I'm not sure if storage is going to be an issue, as no bags were provided. I've managed to put most content in the base game and the miniatures and terrain in the other boxes. I look forward to learning the rules and playing shortly. This is Ninja Geek Games. Stay frosty.